It's time for another Wasted Opinion review of the MCU. Today, we're talking about Black Panther.
Bombay.
When do we talk about the fucking shows and movies? Thanks for the F shot.
I don't know, but these arms are feeling chewed off.
Show me what you got.
We'll drink it if you say.
Welcome again, everybody, to today's episode. So, we're going to talk about Black Panther, which I know is at least Lou's favorite of the MCU movies.
I just want to know why they keep calling him Black Panther. Just call him Panther.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't bring race into
What
this.
other Panthers are there?
Really? Come on, people.
Who knows?
It's 2025.
It's pretty clear that this episode we're going to be walking a tightrope. But with me here today, I have on my far left.
Wakanda forever. I'm CountryBoy.
You know why marriages don't last long with hobbits?
Because they're so short.
As soon as you put a ring on his finger, he disappears.
Man.
I'm LewisLightning.
What? I think I catch. I lose lightning.
And I liked Black Klansman, which was a movie by Spike
Lee.
Lee. Yeah, not Spike Jonze.
Not
Spike
Spike
Lee.
Jonze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loved it a lot, apparently.
Great movie.
It was good.
Great movie. It was very well done.
It was.
And I'm MussKeg.
Wow. Yeah, and
Could've
what
fell
are we
out your
doing
mouth
this
there.
episode?
Before we get into this, we'll do the most Black Panther shot possible.
Pink.
Heart-shaped herb.
Baja Rosa.
Bring it back to heart shaper, brother.
Okay. These are always our most popular episodes, so let's make sure we take our time on this. Let's start out with talking about where this movie is. We'll go to our resident MCU expert, Lou. Set us up where this movie is in the MCU path.
It is the last MCU movie, the solo movie before Avengers Infinity War.
Quite deleted, yeah.
War, not wars.
Yeah, it's singular.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they were like a last minute addition, both this and Captain Marvel, for the films that they had planned out. And, you know, they just tossed it in. Like everyone else had like the third movie by
They
this
don't
point.
need to. Also, these characters don't really need to have like led into like Infinity War, because there's not like they're like big tie-ins to those movies.
I mean, Infinity War kind of happens. Half of the Infinity War happens in Wakanda.
yes,
Yeah.
it does, but it's way after the
Good.
fact.
It establishes a setting for it more so than a time.
And we had seen Black Panther before in Civil War, which is the
Yes.
first time we had actually been introduced to that character, and he was awesome in that movie.
Amazing in that.
I freaking loved him in that movie. But we're talking about Black Panther. So
Yeah,
What
so
do you
that-
think about his character portrayal in this movie?
Well, I remember the Black Panther because I had the card growing up, so I wasn't unfamiliar with him. I was a little unfamiliar in how important he was in the MCU to the fact that he got his own standalone movie. The thing, I'll start with some of the positives from my perspective. This movie, I loved the technology of the movie, the concept of what his suit was, of the whole Wakanda world.
How vibranium was able to be used as more than just a metal.
Exactly. The gadgets that he had. Black Panther is like the Batman, really, if you think about it, of the MCU.
Yeah.
And so I really like that. Obviously, why am I blanking on his name?
I don't know who we're talking
the
about.
Chadwick
actor.
Boseman?
Chadwick Boseman,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. I kept wanting to say Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Oh yeah, it's another great. It's another great
but
actor,
anyways,
yeah.
Chadwick Boseman was fantastic in the role. He was fantastic in the
Absolutely.
Civil War. Perfect casting.
Really, honestly, yeah.
Except for longevity. But it was still that was my favorite part about this movie was the technology and what it did in the world, the setting of Wakanda and such. So how about we ask that? What's your guys' favorite parts of this movie? What did you really like about it?
You go, yeah.
Andy Serkis is stellar.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I really hate that they killed him off. He was in Ultron, Age of Ultron as well. But this, just seeing
the
come
one
out.
of two white guys in the show is Lou's favorite part.
No,
I like the other characters too.
I'm with the guy though.
Yeah,
But Andy Serkis,
He was awesome, yeah.
He was amazing.
What's his name again?
Ulysses
Ulysses
Claw.
Claw.
Ulysses Claw, yeah.
Yeah, like one arm.
Fake arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Martin Freeman?
That was the other one. I was gonna point him out.
No,
Two
Like,
white
go
guys
ahead.
in the movie.
I wouldn't say he was a standout role here,
But he got to do more.
but he got to do more.
Yeah.
Based
I
on
always
that.
thought it was so weird that they got a British guy to play a CIA agent.
That does seem weird.
I mean, I know the Brits get a lot of American roles, but like a CIA agent seems quite American.
I can never remember
That's
her
why you
name.
never expect it.
I can never remember her name, but the Queen, the actress. I can never remember the actress's name.
Oh, if I looked up into my research, I'd be better at this too.
I like her. She's not as big here. She's more a bigger role in the second movie.
She was big.
Oh, Angela Bassett.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can never remember her
She
name.
was really. If you ever watched American Horror Story, she was actually really good in a couple of seasons of that series.
Shuri's good too. I like Shuri. Alopecia, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, great performances all around. I would agree with you that, and I love that they had it, like you said, with all the technology. That was really cool to see that. But I also, I just because the negative nitpick is that I hated that they didn't share it with the world. That was one of the nitpicks I had for the movie. But sorry, going back to like really positive things.
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan. I was gonna say Michael B. Jordan was one of the ones we didn't mention yet.
Yeah.
And like you said, I really loved Ulysses Claw. Again, it's too bad he died, but Michael B. Jordan also died, which is another unfortunate thing because he was another great character, Killmonger.
Would have been a good transition.
No idea who that
right?
character was before I even seen this movie, but I think he did an awesome job. Just
The visuals and the tribes were really cool too, like the colors.
M'Baku, one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Yes, I like it.
I love M'Baku.
But you got the river tribe, like the ones that have the big plates and
Yeah,
their lips
yeah,
and everything,
yeah.
like very cool visuals.
Wakabi and his I don't
Especially
know, the
when,
border guys.
especially when they congregate for like the fight, essentially, and you have them all there. That was really cool too.
I feel like their attire, like I like the looks of it a lot, like the stylistic choices. But I feel like a lot of times they should have been like dirtier or ragged or something.
Yes.
And everything looks too clean.
I was gonna
too
say
clean.
it is very bright and it doesn't feel very African.
Just they're living
So it needed to be dirtier to feel more like that?
no, but it did feel very green
okay.
screeny.
Okay.
For me, it's like you have a big fight scene and these guys are perfectly fine.
I guess, yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. But his suit and like the whole absorbing of kinetic energy, and like I like that. Personally.
It has issues, I will say, but
I'll say one of my
Should be-
issues with the suit. I loved the physical helmet that you can take off. I loved in movies where you can literally see the
I do
helmet
like
come
that.
off. Whereas this might be one of the first ones where it's like kinetic and like
Wow.
I don't know if it's like robot, like little what do you call them?
Nanobots,
He was in his fucking
nanobots.
necklace.
Nanobots.
Nanobots. Yeah, sorry.
But
When he takes the helmet, sorry.
I just love that way more than having like a thing that just appears and
Star Lord had it in Guardians of the Galaxy where it did that.
And I'm not a fan
And
of
then
it.
Tony Stark.
Yeah,
I think
I
just,
wish it
it's
would
too
go
much.
back.
It's too much.
Maybe that's what it
not
is.
everyone needs it.
I did like how he could take, going back to Civil War, when he takes the helmet off and sets it down with Zemo. Yeah.
I feel like it's missing something, and there's a lot of times where you can tell that they're just wearing like these gray dotted suits because it looks fake in the movie. It looks a lot of times. It's too many that I could count. Like, it's just not great.
So what didn't you like about the movie?
Just I don't know. This is a nitpick. Just to get it out of the way because he brought it up. The suits and the kinetic energy. Because she shows it off to him in like the lab at first. He's like, "Oh yeah, hit it," and he kicks it,
and boots it across the room.
flying across the room. She's like, "It absorbed all the kinetic energy." I'm like, "No, it didn't." Because that thing went across the room. That's what kinetic energy is.
And
it's moving.
But then it shot back at him
The
when
second
he kicked it
time,
again, though.
but she said absorbed it the first time.
It did absorb it. Doesn't mean that it isn't.
Not all of it, I guess.
It isn't prone to. I guess the gravitational hit.
I don't like the purple vibe to it. Like I know purple is a big royal color, and also that it seems to be fairly popular with the African community. I don't know if that's something
maybe
special there, but they use it a lot. I don't think it looks good in the Black Panther suit. I like the one in Civil War more. CG is a miss at times.
Very miss. Look at the rhinos.
The rhinos,
Oh
they
my
don't
gosh.
look like they're there. They never look like they're really there. Did not like that. And there's even some with him when he's CG as Black Panther. It reminds me of like Spider-Man in
The movement
the
is
first
so
Spider-Man,
unnatural.
where it's just like he's too rubbery. And just,
Him and Killmonger when they're both in their suits. A lot of the fighting was just like rubbery. Like doesn't.
One thing I'll say,
Match.
just going a little bit, one thing that a lot of people would say is a good thing about this movie is the fact that it was very culturally significant for its African American representation of black African American director.
I like that.
Primarily,
I think it's great.
Primary cast. It was that. So that's one thing to mention. But the thing I would say that I didn't like most about it, the story. I thought it was not good writing. I thought it was predictive dialogue. I thought I could hear what somebody said and predict what's going to be this. They try to throw a bit of a twist in with being like, oh, Killmonger was there. That was his dad and the brother.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a forced twist for me. I hated the whole storyline with his dad and him, like, interacting with him in, like, the spirit world and stuff. I was like,
you don't like the second
a
world.
little too Lion King for me, a little bit there. And ironic, but it wasn't a great story for me personally. That's my.
It was very average.
You know, you have Daniel Kaluuya. I can't remember how you pronounce his name.
Coulier. Is it
David Coulier?
You're talking about Wakabi, the guy from Wakabi?
The guy that was like dating one of the women. Okoye. And,
yes.
And his like turns to the back.
Yes, he's from Get Out. Yeah.
It was just
great actor,
so,
great actor.
His shift is too
and in Black Klansman.
Misused.
Oh, not Black Klansman. No, he was in.
He's very misused.
But anyways, I don't know. It was not good writing from my perspective.
I feel like it was very average writing. Like, why didn't Zuri tell them, like, oh yeah, he killed his brother to defend me? He didn't tell anyone that the whole time.
And he did say that his dad swore him to an oath to not.
But there was two other women, like the Dora Milaje guards that originally were there, so they know that they showed up, and when they left, that guy was dead.
Yeah.
Like, there was more to it, and nothing's ever said for like 30 years or something.
Yeah,
I'll
say like he liked the visuals. I thought the visuals were like on the downgrade of of Marvel.
Visuals in terms of I like the stylistic stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, the colors, vibrant colors.
You talked about the people like watching the fight. I thought it looked fake as hell with them on.
Oh yeah, it looked like the sets actually looked like
people.
A set built with a green screen behind.
And yeah, a lot
like
of
when you go
screen.
to who's the guy that you liked? The
Michael B. Jordan?
the Gorillas tribe.
Winston
M'Baku.
Duke is M'Baku.
Yeah.
Like that, you could look at that and say, "Oh, this is a set built with a green screen right behind it to do this."
M'Baku wasn't bad. It's not one of the ones that stand out for me. It was
yeah.
a lot of daylight stuff.
Yeah.
Anytime they were daylight, it was like you could see the people.
But it's got like that whole sequence.
They had that weird
like to a casino or something like that.
Yeah.
It's got a cool heist type.
It's
of
decent, and even that scene, I'll say, like they've done it so much better since then. Of like a one-shot fight scene.
Yeah.
It was very static. It was like watch something fighting here. Let's move here. Something fighting here. It was very static.
It's not even that. A lot of times they're like filming, and then like they went around a pole, and I'm like instantly when they're around the pole, I'm like, that's not a real person.
Ryan
and then they
Coogler.
fall or something. I was like, yeah.
Ryan Coogler, I think, directed it, right?
Ryan Coogler.
I believe so.
Coogler, yeah.
Check it out.
So it sounds like you got an issue with his directing. No.
Also, I know I think he directed the first Creed movie as well too, which was great. I love Creed. Michael B. Jordan.
I'll think of it later. But Coogler, I don't think it's Coogler with a G.
Let's find out.
But another thing with the story, I found some of it, when they try to bring race relations into it, it was a little bit heavy-handed, and it didn't always make sense. Like Michael B. Jordan at the end when he's dying, he's like, no, my ancestors do let me drown in the water rather than being bound in chains. I'm like, he's talking about you as a prisoner because you're a criminal. You're not a slave. You're not.
I pride myself on my nearsighted vision, like being able to read. Tell me you can read that as far as the director cast list of that. That's freaking brutal.
Well, it's not the best lighting, so that's okay.
Anyways.
Lewis will edit this so that he can have the director.
But yeah, I felt like they were like when they use stuff like colonizer and stuff like you guys are spying on all these other nations. We've seen that. The second scene, if you omit the flashback at the beginning.
I think you stapled the sneeze.
They're in Nigeria, I think, and they're like doing a mission and they're interjecting themselves. Like you guys aren't innocent. That's what really bothers me.
I think it also suffered from the fact that so many movies just prior to this one were building up with like this character's interacting with this character, the people being brought in, and really all you got brought in this one was Winter Soldier at the end, essentially the White Wolf.
Yeah.
And that I think hurt it a little bit too, because we've been building, all of a sudden you insert this one where you didn't have that.
I mean, I know we already touched on the visuals and stuff like that, but there's so many times that the visuals actually it bothered me that it wasn't better. Like it should have been. Leading up to this movie, the visuals are so much better.
It also bothered me.
Well, hey, sorry. I like his sister. I don't think we mentioned her.
I mentioned her. She's right.
She was great.
I will personally admit, because I had no issue with it because of this, but it bothered me that it got so much hype based on its social awareness.
It got an Oscar nom. It got an Oscar nom.
That was when they moved it to like Best Picture kind of thing.
But dude,
Ryan Coogler, yeah.
What other? I said Ryan Coogler.
That's what I said. You said Dave Coulier.
Oh, that was earlier. I said it later on, Ryan Coogler.
But no. What I'm just trying to get at is there was so much hype around this because it was, as I mentioned earlier, very epic, revolutionary, what you want to for representation.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Especially in the African American community, that I feel like that the hype of it because of that diminished. It was almost like you didn't have to make a great movie because you had
you already had this kind of going behind it.
And that
was it. Sorry, as a movie, is it better than the first Iron Man?
No.
Is it better than Civil War or?
No, I mean Civil War is the best.
Or Winter Soldier, I don't think so. But those got no noms for Oscar nominations.
There was a point where
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
So there was a point where I was watching it and I was thought, okay, in universe, if I was a kid from Africa and I didn't hear about Tony Stark and Thor, Captain America, and all that stuff. And Black Panther was the guy in my neighborhood. I'm like, this guy would be fucking badass knowing he's around.
Yeah,
and that's how I kind of viewed this movie the second time. Maybe not the first time I watched it, but...
I'm glad they did the soft introduction through Civil War, though.
Yeah, I'm glad we knew who this guy was before going into it. We didn't need a whole...
I do know, though, too, when I look back at lists when people do their rankings now, if you had looked at where this ranked at the time then, people would have had it top 5, etc.
Oh.
But if you look at rankings now, it's not that high up on most people's lists.
I think if you look it up on Rotten Tomatoes, maybe Metacritic, I think it's Rotten Tomatoes, this is the highest ranked MCU movie, above...
I know,
Infinity
but I'm
War
talking about
whatever.
lists
Wow.
when we do these things and you Google the question. It's not as high up as most people have it.
But I will say, after a rewatching recently, I did rank it a little higher than I originally had, just slightly.
I will say this too.
I was a little more hating on the back.
The second version of this made this one look so much better comparably.
Oh.
Spoiler alert for what's happening for me, anyways. But
I don't know. I might disagree.
Yeah. Well, you'd be wrong.
I went to the bathroom in the second one, and I don't feel like I missed anything.
Yeah,
you missed them. You missed all of it.
But we don't. These episodes don't always tend to be too long, so I think we could probably.
Ratings.
Yeah, get to ratings.
Sum it up.
List. Yeah. So we'll start. We'll go left to right here.
Okay. So like I said, I had it ranked a little bit lower. I bumped it up because I did watch it recently. You know what? I might have had a little more critiques about it back in the day than I do now, and I think I have an appreciation for a little more things than I maybe not back then. So I ranked it at about a 7.0.
Wow.
I'm guessing it's a little lower than mine.
No. I watched it just yesterday.
Oh.
And I, like you, felt it was worse. From my memory of remembering when I watched this in theater, when it opened up, I did not care for it as much. I watched it a second time, but viewing yesterday, my third time watching it, I was like, you know what, I gotta give this more credit. It's a decent film. Mm-hmm. And originally, I probably would have said a 6.8. Yeah. But I was like, you know what? It's a little bit better. It's probably a 7.0.
Wow, this is gonna be a clean. This is gonna be a clean sweep because
no, it is not.
Absolutely,
you had it a 5.
Dude, absolutely. I looked at our previous.
He told me before this. I'm thinking it's gonna be below 5.
I'm gonna go third just so I can do what he said.
Fucking guy. No, I knew it. He always does this.
It sucks to be the third one on this because of how epic this would have been if I got to go first. But yeah, I would give this a 7.0. There was one that I had as a 7.1 that I said was slightly above it. That's why
the CG brought it down and some of the heavy-handedness.
But even talking it out with you guys, I'm like, I didn't hate as many things about it. No. So it's a 7.0.
It was a lot more of an movie.
We can lock it in. It's a 7.0, and that's the first unanimous agreement.
That is the wasted opinion seal of approval.
And I always called it from the start that it would have been on Black Panther. So No, I did
That
not.
we would agree?
Yeah. That would be the first one we'd have the same ranking for everything.
Nice. I think we did a good job, guys.
Good job.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Cheers. Where can we find each other?
Well, I guess I'll ask. Twitch, Twitter, PSN is MussKeg, and TikTok. I hosted this episode.
Thank you. Me now?
Yeah,
Thanks,
sure.
host. Thanks,
I don't know. Ask John.
I'm the LewisLightning, all one word. You can find that on Twitch and on YouTube.
And I'm CountryBoy_9, also known as CountryBoy9er, where you can find me on all different platforms, including YouTube right here, where I unbox a whole bunch of stuff. Check it out.
Nice.
Black Panther.
Oh.
When the
Shadlow, Roblo,
when the Jabari show up.
Oh.
Abi.
I don't know what they say. I don't know what they say.
Well, that's Ali Umbaye.
Like, way
What?
We'll keep that.
That's what it cuts, because we're just talking about the Black Panther.